Hello, are we on?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, dear attendees. This is Neeraj Arora, Senior Director from SOCHM. On behalf of SOCHM, I welcome you all and say thank you to all of you to join us on this morning. I'm happy to share that we got around 900 plus registrations for this GEM webinar. We launched this webinar around 1 week back, and with the help of ISHRE Jaipur chapter and entire ISHRE team and entire SOCHM team, we could able to register 900 plus registrations for this webinar. And I'm happy to share with you that there are already 500 plus attendees are there in the webinar. So on behalf of SOCHM, I welcome you all. So I will just like to share with you the flow of this 2 hours program. So after this brief introduction by SOCHM, and then I would like to invite Kishan Khatri, who is the President ISHRE Jaipur chapter, to speak about him and ISHRE. Then I will start the technical presentation of SOCHM, and I will share that what SOCHM is doing overall and what SOCHM is doing towards sustainability, and then we will discuss about the GEM Green Building Certification Program of SOCHM. After my presentation, there will be a technical presentation by Mr. Kishan Khatri. And after this, after our presentations, after mine and Kishan's presentation, we will take the questions which are asked by the audience. And then after, we will discuss about GEM examination in a brief, and we'll close today's webinar. I am very happy to share with you that we have got wonderful response as far as the registration for the GEM online exam is concerned. With your positive support, we have registered 200 plus candidates for the GEM online exam within last 1 week, and this is an amazing response we have received from you guys. I know we all are architects, engineers, professionals, environment and sustainability consultants attending this webinar. This number is increasing very fast. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Kishan Khatri, who is President of ISHRE Jaipur chapter, and his team has supported us very well in organizing this webinar. Kishan, over to you. Thank you.
So first of all, I would like to welcome everyone. On behalf of ISHRE Jaipur chapter, I would like to welcome all the participants who have joined the session on GEM Sustainability Certified Professional, that is GEM CP online examination, which is organized by SOCHM. This is the first time when the training is conducted through digital platform on webinar. As we all know that pandemic is going on and we have to work out somewhere, and this is a very good, personally I would find it very suitable to optimize your time and your work. I would like to thank Mr. Neeraj Arora, Senior Director, SOCHM GEM, who is working toward the sustainability and conducted such sessions for the people. We are also happy and glad to support this session. A brief about ISHRE and ISHRE Jaipur chapter. The Indian Society of Heating, Refrigerating and Air Conditioning Engineers was founded in 1981 at New Delhi by a group of eminent HVAC professionals. ISHRE today has over 28,000 members. And if we say the professional members, around 14 to 15,000 professional members are there. It was founded in 1981, and there are currently 42 chapters across nation. Jaipur is one of the chapter, and in Jaipur around 250 members are there. The society is led by a team of elected officers who are members of society and working on a voluntary basis, collectively called Board of Governors. ISHRE is into advancement of the arts, science, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning and refrigeration engineering fields. Apart from this, we are also promoting the education of the members, interested person in the state science through lectures, workshops, product presentation, publication, exposition, retention of the career guidance, and financial assistance to students who are working in the field of this HVAC. we can see that use of HVAC is quite necessary in today's time. In the latest news, I can say, around 7 to 8% of buildings are air conditioned, and this 7 to 8% of air conditioned building are, that means 24 plus minus 2, around this temperature people are getting the temperature. To bring down the temperature to 224 plus minus 2, we need to run the air conditioning system, and for that we need energy efficient system, which GEM rating is promoting, that how we can use energy efficient air conditioning system. So ISHRE and GEM is basically working together for energy efficient systems, plus to provide more and more comfort to all the buildings. I am personally working as an energy consultant and green building consultant, and my responsibility is also to see the environment is safe, and by essential use of HVAC, as the energy demand may also be increased. By the installation of HVAC system, energy optimization shall also be a point which is required to be looked up. This year we are looking for digital vision, and this shall include the arrangement of activities to disseminate the guidelines, standards for energy efficient HVAC and R. So the initial sessions we will be on this digital platform. Once again, thank you everyone for joining, and again would like Mr. Neeraj Arora to take it forward. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kishan. So now I would request Mr. Harinder to please allow me to share my screen. Harinder ji, please. Thank you. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, dear friends, just a minute. So, this is basically ASSOCHAM's Green Building Certification Program, GEM, Green and Eco-Friendly Movement, GEM Sustainability Certification Program about ASSOCHAM. So, I would like to share with you that ASSOCHAM is basically the Associated Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India, which was established in 1920, and ASSOCHAM basically represents the interest of 4.5 lakh industry members across India. We represent the regional chambers in many states, and we work in around 80 plus sectors across India. So we have councils on 80 plus sectors. You talk about education, sustainability, steel, mining, paper, plastic, healthcare, beauty and wellness. So we have different councils for different sectors, and each council represent the interest of each sector. Like during this COVID-19 situation, when almost all the industries are shut, all the activities are shut, and we are staying at our home, ASSOCHAM and such chambers are continuously working very close to the government of India, the state governments, that how our industries and our work can be put on track post COVID-19. So our aim is that industries should not be closed and offices should not be closed for such a long time, and we are helping government issuing the guidelines to the government that how the industries and commercial offices can be put on start again. So next, ASSOCHAM has taken a green initiative around 3 years back and launched the Green Building Certification Program. Like you must have heard about IGBC, LEED, and GRIHA, and many other programs already existing in India. So we started this Green Building Certification Program in 2017, and now we have our regional chapters in many states. There are around 500, 600 plus architects, engineers, sustainability consultants, environments. They are all associated with us. See, what is the need of a green building certification program? Friends, you can see that around 2 months back or 3 months back, when we talk about the air quality of any city like Delhi, I'm from Delhi. So the air quality of Delhi was so poor. And government of India and many state governments, they were very, they were under a very stressed situation that how we can improve the air quality of the country. And the cities like Delhi, Bombay and all, Bangalore, and we were struggling for, our rivers were very dirty, our environment was very dirty, air quality was very poor, and we were struggling with the power issues also. And now, just after 40 days, we can see that our air quality is so improved, and our water rivers are so clean, our environment is so pure, and there is no scarcity of power right now. So this shows that somehow we have disturbed the environment, we have disturbed our rivers, we have disturbed our surroundings with our bad daily routine. So we started our journey with a very simple and humanistic lifestyle. We were very close to our nature. We were very close to natural things. But after that, we are now shifted to the artificial air conditioners. We have shifted to air purifiers. Nowadays, air purifiers are very common. Around 10-15 years back, we started installing water purifiers in our homes. Now we have started installing air purifiers at our home. So this situation is very alarming. And if you talk about the air quality, I mean it was worst. And there were around 10 Indian states amongst the top 100 polluted cities in the world. The top 10 states were from India. So normally the air quality of Delhi, the air quality index of Delhi was around 500 plus, but now it has come down to around 50 plus or 60 plus or like that. Air quality index is like that. So the air quality has improved. This shows that the air pollution was because of automobile, it was because of construction, it was because of the pollution which is created by industries and all. So obviously the solution is not to stop the industries, not to stop the transportation, not to stop the construction, but whole idea is that we should apply a better approach so that our environment is not polluted, we are not destroying our natural resources. So this is, see, if you can see my screen, this is a very routine images of Delhi and a city like Delhi. The roads are jammed in the morning and in the evening, huge traffic jam we can see. So this is not a very good good sign. You can see the pollutions, water pollution, our rivers were very dirty as I told you. But now after COVID, rivers are very clean. So it shows that we were damaging our natural resources. See, at ASSOCHAM, we have created this GEM Green Building Certification Program. There were already many programs running in India in last 18-20 years, and we could you will be amazed to see that we could register only 6,000 buildings in last 18-20 years, and there are around 4,000 5,000 buildings that are registered green. They are certified greens. So ASSOCHAM has launched this program to support the green building movement of India, and so launched this GEM Green Building Certification Program. This program is based upon Bureau of Energy Certified ECBC 2017 and National Building Code 2016. And this GEM Green Building Certification Program, there is a scale of 0 to 135 points. And if any project achieves 105 plus points, it will be GEM 5 rated. If it achieves 85 to 104 points, it will be GEM 4 rated, GEM 3 rated, GEM 2 and GEM 1 rated, like that. Like you have ratings for your electronic equipments, you now have the ratings for your buildings also, which is GEM 1 to 5. So this GEM Green Building Certification Program is applicable to all types of construction, all type of developments. You call it housing, urban development, residential, commercial, hotels, factories, universities, colleges, schools and offices. Now the question is, why GEM when there are other programs also? So dear friends, during this course, I would share with you some 4 or 5 technical credits and would like to share with you, I mean, some of you must be certified by other green building certification programs also. So I would like to share with you that how this program has been evolved in a different way, how simple the program is, so that a layman can understand the green building certification program. And we have kept this program, and the fees of this program is drastically less, very less, so that everybody can go for green building certification, sustainability certification, and everybody can understand that what the program is. So there is a myth that green building certification ratings are very costly, and if you go with green building certification, it will cost you much. So I would like to share with you that no, green building certifications are very, very cheap. There are many consultants, green building consultants, architects, engineers attending this program. So you can put your questions in your question column, and you can mention. You can see that now going for green building certification costs nothing actually. The cost of going green certification is even less than 4 rupees or 5 rupees per square feet, which is negligible. So the one more thing, which is the important thing, is that GEM has launched a monitoring platform. Say the buildings which are certified by GEM and which are certified by other programs also, we are installing the GEM sustainability monitoring platform for that buildings, and we will monitor their air quality, their electricity consumption, their water consumption, their fire status online. So these features are available. This monitoring platform has already been launched, and we have launched this monitoring platform in many of our projects across India. So this is the unique feature which only GEM Green Building Certification Program has. Guys, we have got the support from ISRE, as I told you. We have got the support from Fire and Security Associations of India. We have got the support from Indoor Air Quality Association. We have got the support from ISRE India chapter. We have got the support from Smart Habitat Foundation, GSES, and many other such organizations. So these organizations are also supporting us in our movement, and with the help of these organizations, we have done approximately 35 plus green building certification projects in last 2 years. There are 500 plus green building certification GEM certified professionals associated with us. There are many professionals associated with us with the help of these organizations. I am thankful to all. These are some pictures of MOU signing with ISRE, FSAI, Indoor Air Quality Association, ISRE chapters, India chapter basically. This MOU was signed in Dubai with Smart Habitat Foundation. We can see architect Charanjit Shah, Mr. Pankaj Dharkar. So this is the certificate which we award to the certified project. This is GEM certificate, which is given by the largest apex chamber of India, ASSOCHAM, which is the oldest apex chamber also. Team, this is the certificate which ASSOCHAM awards to the GEM certified professionals. Like many of you have applied for the GEM certified professional exam, online exam. So if you will clear that exam, I hope all the best. I say all the best to you. If you clear this exam, you will get this certificate from ASSOCHAM. Team, otherwise the cost of this GEM Green Building Certification Program was rupees 5,000 plus GST. But considering this COVID-19, when everybody has very less money with them, we have subsidized this examination, and we have reduced the cost for applying for this examination to rupees 3,000. So we have discounted it by 40%, which is a huge discount, huge rebate. So you should take best benefit of this. So this discount was from 21st April to 29th April for now, and many of you have registered. You will already have received the benefit of this. This is the GEM reference guide, which is available free of cost on ASSOCHAM's website. The name of ASSOCHAM's website is www.green-assocham.com. You can download this reference guide from that website. This reference guide is, prepared in a very simple language. Once you go through it, you will understand that how simple the program is. We will discuss many of the credits right now in our discussion. See, these are the certified projects by ASSOCHAM GEM. You can see the name. We have Hindustan University, we have ITC, we have Paras Cinema, we have Siemens, we have many colleges, many commercial offices certified by ASSOCHAM GEM with the GEM certified rating. This all has happened in just last 2 years. Now I would like to share with you some GEM event highlights, and then we will go to our technical sessions. See this program, this is the launching ceremony of the program, which was held in Delhi, and many of you must have attended this. This first program was attended by 600 plus architects, engineers, and professionals. This is the GEM Conclave and Exhibition, which was held in January this year only. This was an exhibition, 2 days exhibition with 50 plus exhibitors attending there. We got the support from Council of Architecture, from many ministries for this program. It was a wonderful program. International architects from Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka attended this program. So it was very wonderful, very supported program. These are some certified projects by ASSOCHAM. We award such trophies and certificates to the successful projects. This is the installation ceremony of GEM Chandigarh chapter, which is headed by architect Surendra Bhaga. And many professionals are seated there. This program was also supported by ISHRE and ESHRE there. This is the ASSOCHAM program, which was in news that time. This is the installation of GEM Rajasthan chapter, which is headed by architect Tushar Sogani. We have many renowned developers, architects, professionals, engineers in the Rajasthan chapter also. And soon we are going to have a wonderful program in Rajasthan. This is the installation ceremony of Gujarat chapter. This program was attended by the Energy Minister of Gujarat and Mayor of Ahmedabad. It was again a wonderful program with exhibition. This is the round table of architects and engineers. See guys, this is the training program conducted by ASSOCHAM in various colleges and in ASSOCHAM campus also. So I would request you, whenever you get the information of ASSOCHAM GEM certified professional exam and GEM certified trainings, you must attend these trainings and programs. These trainings and programs are conducted very frequently in ASSOCHAM office and in your local universities as well. See, friends, as I told you, ASSOCHAM is the 100 years old organization. It was established in 1920. And now we are celebrating our 100 years, centenary year basically. And we organized one event, centenary celebration in December, on 19 December 19, and Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji blessed us by attending that program. He was there. This program was held in Vigyan Bhavan with 3,000 plus delegates attending this program. I can show you the pictures. The program was attended by Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, Smriti Irani ji, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji, Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, and the picture of Vigyan Bhavan, you can see the hall was jam-packed with 3,000 delegates. Piyush Goyal ji was there. So guys, what I wanted to explain to you is that green building certification is not just a program. This is the need of the hour. And now, I mean, what I can say, because we are engineers, architects, so we must see COVID from that angle. And I must say that COVID-19 is nothing but an alarm, a warning from nature to us that we should learn from this incident and we should be sustainable. We should improve our lifestyle so that, you know, we can protect our environment. We should not damage our environment. And we should try that this should not happen again in future. So this is our moral responsibility. Now I am switching my slides to the reference guide, and we will discuss some technical credits of this program. Just allow me 1 minute. I am switching my presentation to the next reference guide. I'm sure you can see the reference guide, my screen. Kishan, my screen is seen.
No, it is not showing here.
So I'm showing a GEM
Yes,
reference
visible.
guide, a blue color.
Yes,
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir,
It is visible now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See, guys, this is the GEM reference guide. This is the GEM reference guide. I think you all can see this. I'm moving the slides a little slow so that everybody can see it. So this is the reference guide, and this is the second edition of reference guide. It was launched in January 2020, recently, the second edition. Now I would like to discuss around 4 to 5 criteria with you so that I can explain you that how simple the program has been designed, how different the program is, and how this program is useful for even a layman which is working on the site. As I discuss with you, you can now see on my screen the how the rating level can be achieved. See, if a project achieves 40 to 49 points, it will be GEM 1 rated. If it achieves 50 to 64 points, it is GEM 2 rated, then GEM 3, GEM 4, and GEM 5 rated. If a project achieves 105 plus points, it will be rated by GEM 5 certification. Now, if you can see my screen, you can see there are 30 principles. For now, you can see 1 to 60 principles. So it covers everything. It covers government approved plans. It covers fire and life safety requirements. It covers construction management best practices. It covers principle 5, passive design strategies. Friends, I would like to share with you, as I told you, GEM is the only green building certification program which has GEM monitoring platform with it. So we are monitoring live. We are monitoring live our buildings. The buildings rated by GEM, which is rated by other programs. We are monitoring live. We are monitoring their electrical consumption, their water consumption, their fire and life safety, their fire status, and their air quality status. Now, I would like to share with you that GEM is the only program which has included fire and life safety in its criteria. For this, because no other programs talk about fire and life safety, we talk about fire and life safety also in the sustainable buildings, because we have seen many fire incidents in many green buildings. So we thought, when we are talking about energy conservation, water conservation, and when we are talking about efficiencies, when we are talking about human comfort, so I think life, safety of life comes before energy efficiency, water efficiency, or human comfort. So we have included fire and life safety also in the sustainable buildings. We have also included passive design strategies in our program. Why? Because See, if a building is properly designed, if a building is designed in an efficient way, we can reduce the consumption of electricity, consumption of lighting, consumption of water by 30 to 40%. So it is always good to design it is always good to design a good building, a best building. So passive design architecture plays very important role, and so the architects are. So we have included passive design strategies also in our program. So these are some 3-4 very good features: GEM online monitoring platform, fire and life safety, passive design architecture in the green building certification program. So these are some key highlights of the program. Now I would like to take you to one principle, which is low flow water fixture. So I am shifting to that principle. Slide movement is a little slow. So as soon as the slide comes, now I think you can see principle 10, install low flow water fixtures. If you have the reference guide downloaded with you, you can see in that reference guide also. Otherwise, you can see on my screen also. Right now, my screen shows principle 10, install low flow water fixtures. I am doing a little, and I am zooming it so that you can see it easily. See, now I would like to explain you the difference, that how simple we have designed this program. Guys, you must know that if we want to reduce the water consumption, potable water consumption or whatever, we have to install the low flow water fixtures. So what we have done is, we have awarded the buildings points on the basis of that if they install low flow water fixtures, you are allowing them the points. There is no need to do any kind of calculation. There is no calculator. You need not to perform any calculation to show the water saving. If you are installing the low flow water fixtures, means you are saving the water. So there is no need to do any kind of calculation, and we will award you 1 point for every installation. Say if you are installing health faucet, low flow kitchen faucets, wash basin faucet, shower and urinals, you will be awarded 1 point each. And if you are installing sensor based water fixtures, you will be given by 1 more point. So if you are installing the low flow water fixtures, you will be awarded points. You will just have to share the water bills, fixture purchase bills, and show the photographs. That's it. There is no need to do any kind of calculation, and there is no need to perform any saving calculation on the calculator, because what we understand is worthless. Similarly, I will take you to the next point. I hope you all are getting. You will be allowed to ask questions at the end, or you can send your questions through email also. Now we are moving to our next principle, which is again a very important principle, and what GEM has done to improve this principle. I am waiting for the screen to come to you. I think now you can see the next screen, which is principle 11, on-site treatment of grey and black water, reuse for flushing. Friends, you all know that there is some grey water and some black water comes out from our toilets and kitchens as well. And for a building to save water, we recommend installing sewage treatment plants. And if it is industry, we recommend installing ETPs to treat the water. And then this treated water is reused for flushing, landscaping, car wash, cleaning and all. We also award point for installing the STPs, installing the dual plumbing in the toilets, using the treated water for flushing. That's great. But the major change is that if any industry, I am highlighting this in my screen, and you can see in a couple of minutes. If you read the highlighted section, you can see that, say, if you talk about industrial areas, there are many industrial areas where the industries are, where the size of the industries are very small, the size of the plots are very small. The plots, the industries are not supposed to install their individual STPs. In that case, government prepares the STP for them in a common area, and all the facilities, the discharge from all the facilities come to that common STP. So if such is a case, ASSOCHAM GEM awards 2 points to the industries if they do not have any space to install the STP, or they are not supposed to install the STP by the local authorities. If they are supplying their sewage treatment waste, their waste to the common STP installed by government, and if they can confirm this, we will award them the points. This is again a major change in the green building certification programs, because earlier many industries were struggling because they were not allowed to achieve points. If this is the case, they were forced to install the STP in their boundary only, but we have allowed them, if they are using common STP, we will be awarding them the points. Now, I would like to take you to the next principle, which is principle 14. Just a minute. See, this is a post-occupancy waste management. I am waiting for the screen to come. I think the screen is visible now. So if you can see my screen, it is now showing principle 14, post-occupancy waste management. And you can see that this point award, that this principle awards points if you segregate the biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. It awards you 2 points. And if you provide central waste collection area, central waste collection bins, it awards you again 2 points. The difference is that, you know, the major challenge when when you have to do the sizing of the waste bins. Now, as you can see that, the projects are providing the waste bins, they are segregating the waste, they have provided the common area, but the major challenge is what should be the size of the waste bin. So we have given a criteria which is given in NBC 2016. So friends, I have already told you that the major pleasure of this green building certification program is that GEM is that it follows local guidelines. It follows NBC 2016 and it follows ECBC 2017. So GEM is the only program which is based upon Indian National Building Codes and Indian Energy Conservation Building Codes. This is the only program. If you follow NBC and ECBC, it tells you everything. So in our program also, while calculating the waste, you are supposed to follow NBC guidelines, which says that if you want to estimate the sizing of the waste bins, for residential refuse, it is 0.3 to 0.6 kg per person per day. For commercial refuse, it is 0.1 to 0.2 kg per person per day. And for institutional refuse like universities, education colleges, schools, the waste generation is 0.05 to 0.2 kg per person per day. And out of total solid waste generated, 40% can be taken as organic, 60% can be taken as inorganic. So you will have to follow these criteria for estimating the size of the waste bins, which is a challenge for the projects, for the consultants, that how should we estimate this. So we have simplified this, that how you can calculate this. And also, guys, I am highlighting one line here, which you can see in a couple of minutes. See, many of you are already doing green building certifications. Many of you are already certified. You must be facing one problem, that whatever you explain in your green building certification programs is entirely different what is written in the MEP DBRs. I'm sure you all must know what is MEP DBRs. MEP DBRs are basically the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing design brief reports, which every project team has while they are constructing their projects. So see, guys, I have done around 250 green building certification projects in India and abroad, and I must share with you that in all the projects there is a huge difference between the green building certification reports and the MEP design reports, because they do not match each other. But for now, what we are saying is, we recommend that you should follow MEP design brief reports. You must review the MEP design brief reports, and your green building certification reports must match, must follow your MEP design brief reports. So you can take all the parameters from your MEP reports, which are wonderfully designed by our MEP engineers. Similarly, the principle 15 says the online conservation of organic waste. You will see the slide in a couple of minutes. I am taking some important principle and discussing some important principle with you. Otherwise, I mean, we normally conduct around 2 days training for explaining all these features, which is not possible now. So we are trying to discuss many of them, many of the technical principle with you within this time span. So similarly, when you have segregated and you have stored the organic waste, you can install on-site waste treatment plants. Like you can install OWC, you can go with vermicomposting. I'm highlighting the point here that you can install vermicompost, organic waste converter, biogas plants. If you do so, you will get around 4 points under this principle. Similarly, guys, I would like to discuss with you one very important principle, which is all the time a very painful point of calculation for the green building consultants. This is building construction materials. The screen will be available to you within a couple of minutes. The system is a little slow. I'm hopeful that you can now see principle 20, sustainable development of construction engineering.
Yes, sir.
Good, Kishan. So see, the green building consultants amongst us, they can understand the pain, that how difficult is when you are told to meet the criteria of 20%, 10% recycled content, regional content out of the BOQ, civil BOQ. Because many times this civil BOQ is not given to us. Many times when the civil BOQ is given, the costs are not correct. And ultimately, when everything is given to us, our criteria is not meeting. So we will not achieve, we cannot achieve 10%, 20% regional and recycled criteria. But to make it straightforward, what we have done is, like we did in water fixtures, we are awarding you the points if you are using the right material. If you are using the recycled material, if you are using the regional materials, we are awarding you the direct points. There is no need to do any kind of calculation. There is no bulky calculators. There is no calculator available. you are not supposed to do calculation on paper. That's it. That is our target. So say if you talk about the recycled material, you can see here that if you use recycled facade glass, we are awarding you 2 points. If you are using PPC cement for 50% of your plaster work, for 75% of your plaster work, we are awarding you 2 points. If you are using fly ash or AAC blocks for the brickwork, we are awarding you 1 or 2 points. Similarly, if you are using fly ash in your RMC, we are awarding you 2 points. If you are using TMT steel bars, we are awarding you 2 points, and like that. So there is no need to do any calculation. When you are using these materials, means you are sustainable and you are, trying to save our natural resources. So there is no point of doing any calculation, any false calculation. You just have to submit the bill that you are using it, and you have to submit the photographs that you are using it, and we will award you the point. Because many times what happens is the projects are not following the criteria, but they are good at calculation. So they are not following it, but they prove it on calculators. They submit the report, and we have to award them the rating. So for now, what we have done is we have removed this calculation and we are awarding the points straightforward. When you are applying the material, you will get the point. If you are not applying the material, you will not get the point. There is no point of doing so many calculations. It will save your time also. Similarly, for the local sourcing of construction materials, we are awarding you 6 points. So there are 3 types of materials. Say the materials like sand, stone, aggregate, bricks. These are available locally within a range of 100 kilometers or so. So we will award you 2 points. There are some materials like cement, glass, wood products that are available within say 400, 500 kilometers. We will award you 2 more points. And the material like steel, which is not locally available, so we will award you the points if you source the steel, if you purchase the steel which is manufactured within 850 kilometers. And this range is not the radius, because we are not going to fly and bring the steel from the manufacturing plants. It will come by road, it will come by rail network. So this distance is road distance, not the fly distance, which is again a manipulation point. So this is the road distance, 250 kilometers, 550 kilometers, 850 kilometers. We have clearly mentioned here that the distance mentioned above is not the radial distance. It can be pedestrian, rail, or road distance. There is no meaning of talking radial distance in these criteria, which we are following since so many years. So we have changed this also. And this is, we have got very positive response from the architects, from the green building consultants, from the builders, developers on this change. They are appreciating these changes. And that's why they are accepting it so quickly. Now I would like to take you to the next criteria, which, we have worked on this criteria too much, and we have tried, to change this criteria entirely. See, in many of our green building certification programs, we are told, or in fact, we are forced to use FSC certified wood. If we want to get the points, if we want to get the points, just a minute. If we are using FSC certified wood, we will be awarded 4 points. If we do not use FSC certified wood, we will not be awarded the points. So in that case, we were forced to use the wood and certified wood. So this should not be done. So what we have done is we have removed this criteria, and we have specifically mentioned that use of wood, whether it is hard, whether it is soft, is not allowed in green building certification projects. So if you are using soft wood, you are using hardwood, you will not be awarded any green building rating. You will not be awarded the points actually. there is no meaning of using certified woods. So what we have done is we have removed this criteria, this principle, and we have told that if you are not using hardwood, softwood, you will be awarded with 1 point. And if you are using engineered wood means if you are using boards, fiber board, plywood, you will be given 1 point, because engineered woods are recycled woods basically. So if you are not using wood, you are using engineered wood, you will be allowed 2 to 3 points. And the wood should be urea formaldehyde free. So this is again a very appreciable criteria which the builders and developers, they were under so much pain because there are no vendors available for FSC certified wood, and if the FSC certified wood is available, that is very, very much costly. So there is no meaning of doing false documentation. There is no meaning of creating false documentation. There is no meaning of pushing our developers to buy some wood and then to award them the points. So instead, what we have done is we have removed this criteria and we have told that not to use the wood. And if you want to use the wood, use engineered wood. This is again a very big change and very appreciable change in the GEM certification program. So guys, now you are able to see that we have changed the criteria for low flow water fixtures. We have changed the criteria for regional and recycled material. We have changed the criteria for sewage treatment plant. We have changed the criteria for organic waste at site. We have included fire and life safety. We have included passive design architecture. We are providing GEM monitoring stations. So these many changes we have already done in GEM certification program. And that is why this program is liked by many of you. Many builders, developers, green building consultants, architects, engineers, and all. Now there is one more credit which I would like to share with you, is basically the principle number 25. I think you're not getting bored. Now I would like to discuss with you the principle number 25, which is use of imperishable energy resources, because this principle talk about the use of solar, wind, and such renewable resources. So guys, practically what we have done is we have seen that, I mean, with the experience of industries, we can see that we can install 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, up to 25% on-site solar. I mean, say we have 5% of solar. I mean, we can install 5% of solar of their contract demand, 10%, 15%, 20 or 25%. We will be awarded with 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 points. So with our experience, I can assure you this, that if somebody achieves 25%, that is huge. 25% of their contract demand, if some building is installing, that is a very appreciable step. So we have changed much in this criteria, and we have started it from 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, because we want to encourage the builders, developers, industrialists to install solar or renewable energy resources. That's why we have, keep a very long range. And if they install off-site, they are allowed to install 10%, 20, and 30% of their maximum contract demand. So this is again, this criteria is changed by GEM. Now, see guys, we have covered around 6 to 8 principles during our discussion, and I hope you must have liked these principles. If you have any question, you can put the question in your question section. Harinder, I cannot see the question section. So can we see the question section?
Yeah, I'm allowing.
Yeah. So I would request all the audience to put their questions as much as you can, because after my presentation and after
You can see now, please check.
we will try to take many of your questions, but if time permits, If time don't permit, you can send your question on our emails also. We would be happy to take your questions and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Now, I am done and I would request Kishan
Yes, sir.
to talk on the energy credits, daylight credits and fresh air credits.
Yes, sir.
See,
Sure.
Kishan has lot of experience on energy conservation building codes. He has done many trainings. I think Kishan, you must have trained around 2000 plus people on ECBC, right, Kishan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, yeah. Good. So, Kishan, I would request you to put some light on energy credits, daylight credits, and fresh air. And
Sure,
once you
sir.
are done, we will start taking the questions from the audience. I can see many questions. Yeah, I can see many questions are already there. So here I am stopping my screen.
Yes.
And
I would request.
Harinder, please allow
I would-
Kishan to share his. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Harinder. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Thank you so much. So we have around 15-20 minutes to cover up this energy section and fresh air and daylight section. This will also include the ECBC section as well, because ECBC is linked with energy and daylight as well. So coming to the principle number 23, that is energy management best practices. So what the aim is basically to save the energy. Now, how to save the energy? So coming to that point, give me a minute. I'm opening the slide. Yes. So the requirement is basically to comply with the mandatory requirement of ECBC. And if we go with the first statement, comply with ECBC 2017. Here, the latest version of ECBC is applicable, not the earlier version of ECBC, which was ECB 2007. So we need to make sure that we are complying with ECBC 2017. There are 4 sections: 4.2, 5.2, 6.2, 7.2. The persons who have gone through the ECBC earlier, they must be aware about what the 4.2 section is, what 5th section is, what 6th section is, and what the 7th section is. For the new people who are not aware about the ECBC, just would like to brief you up about these sections. Section 4 is for all about envelope. Section 5 is all about comfort system, which will include your air conditioning systems. Section number 6 will be for lighting system, lighting power density and lighting efficiencies. Last section is 7.2, that will be all about electric power equipments and renewable sources. So point A is this, that there are two parts, 4.2 and 4.3. Let's say if I'm taking about envelope part, 4.2 will be my mandatory part and 4.3 will be my prescriptive part. So mandatory is that you have to comply with that thing, and 4.3, 5.3, 6.3, 7.3, that dot 3, that 3 section is for prescriptive compliance. So once you are done with the mandatory requirements, you have to go for the prescriptive requirements in the case if your project is complying with all the requirements mentioned in the prescriptive approach. What is the prescriptive approach? That I will show you in ECBC book. And apart from this, in the case, what the prescriptive method is, that let's say you have a glass and the glass solar heat gain coefficient is 0.27, you have to meet that 0.27 solar heat gain coefficient. In a similar way, if we are going to air conditioning system efficiency, let's say the COP, coefficient of performance of the air conditioning system of any chiller, is mentioned as 4.5, you have to meet minimum 4.5. This is called a prescriptive method. You have to meet that compliance, that threshold. In the case, there could be lots of cases that you are not able to meet all the sections. This will include air conditioning, envelope, and other lighting system. There you have other option that is called whole building simulation method. So in whole building simulation method, let's say you are not able to comply solar heat gain coefficient of the glass. Your solar heat gain coefficient of glass is more than 0.27. It is not like that you will not be able to comply ECBC or not be able to comply with the GEM rating. You can increase your performance in air conditioning. You can select more efficient system in chiller. So the ultimate requirement is the energy consumption. What the energy is? If we say energy, it is kWh, kilowatt hour. So that kilowatt hour overall should be reduced as compared to the baseline system. What is the baseline model? Baseline model is prepared, is constructed on the software, taking all the inputs from prescriptive method. Now coming to path number A, path 1. Path 1 is basically after you comply with the mandatory requirements, you go with the prescriptive method. In 4.3 method, if you are able to comply 4.3, you will get 2 points. 5.3, you will get 2 points straightforward. If you are able to get this, if you are able to meet these requirements, you will be able to get the points. Path number 2, that is facility through showing the compliance of whole building simulation method. Now energy performance index ratio. That index ratio is basically whatever your building, whatever your proposed building in the sense the building which you are going to construct, with the building which you are designing, that building will show some the energy consumption in kWh in software. So the actual building kWh divided by the baseline model kWh. So in the case, if your building is consuming more kWh, more energy than your baseline, your value will go beyond 1. So your building will not be complied with ECBC, neither will comply with the GEM rating. So you have to reduce down your kWh by using some energy conservation measures in designing as well, so that you can incorporate that input in energy model. How energy model looks like, I will show you. This is one of the example I will be showing you. This is the eQuest model, and one of the building is prepared, this constructed in the software during the design case, and you can see blue color windows are there. This orange and yellowish color, we can say this is these are doors. So this is how the model looks like. Your model will show how your building will perform as per the inputs given to the models. So compliance with ECBC 2017 shall be ensured. Building in the states which have notified the own ECBC shall comply with the state ECBC. So GEM rating is basically focusing and supporting to the notifications and the movement of BEE, that is compliance of ECBC. If your building is ECBC compliance, then your building will be GEM rate certified as well. Your compliance will be according to GEM rating. So vice versa, we can say if your building is GEM certified, yes, your building will also be ECBC 2017 compliant, because this is required. So these guidelines, these requirements were for non-residential building. For the residential building, ECBC is not coming into picture, because the rating system for residential by BE has launched, and they are trying to implement through notification in the states. So for the commercial building, you have to comply with the ECBC. For commercial building, you have to comply with the ECBC. For residential building, I will show you next slide. the guidelines are mentioned as like lighting power density. Lighting power density is basically we can say wattages per square meter or per square feet. So that is LPD. So for particular areas, that LPD maximum threshold are mentioned. So that you have to comply. You don't have to see the ECBC for the residential part. But in the case, if your building is having, it is residential building and your building is having not split AC. In the case it is split AC, you have to go for minimum 3-star rating. In the case your building is not having split AC, you have to see the reference from ECBC 2017. I will show you the ECBC guideline here. So how you will get the ECBC 2017 book? So I am showing it here. You search ECB 2017 PDF, you will be able to see this BE website, and once you will click on it, you will get the PDF. I'm opening the PDF as I have already downloaded it. Yes. So this is ECBC 2017 book, and if we see here, section 4, 1, 2, 3 are given for the basic definitions and about what the buildings are, what the prescriptive and what the mandatory requirements are. You can see in this section 3 as well. Coming to sections, section number 4, that is building envelope. I'm coming to section number 4 directly. So here you can see what the EPI ratio is. EPI of proposed building and EPI of standard building. EPI is basically energy consumption divided by your square foot area or square meter area. So you will get the EPI, energy performance index. That energy performance index, if you divide it through by standard building, you will get EPI ratio. So this is building envelope part. So in building envelope, few parts are coming like wall, facade wall, your roof, your glass, that fenestration. Coming to that point, fenestration. That 4.2 are the mandatory parts. Here you will see all 4.2, 5.2, 6.2, 7.2, these are mandatory provisions. So here U factor of the glass should be as per ISO 15099 and it should be tested from independent laboratory. So the manufacturer will give certificate that this is certified as per the ISO 15099. What the values are, that is not required because that will come into 4.3 part. Similarly, visible light transmitter should also be as per ISO 15099. Coming to daylight, this is also one of the mandatory part. So this is one calculation. I will show you the calculation briefly, how the daylight extent factor can be considered here. So daylight is basically 90% of daylight, potential daylight time in a year, it should be uniformly distributed. So let's say in a year I have 2000 or 3000 of hours of daylight. More than 90% of the area, now more than 90% of the hours should meet the requirement of 100 lux, more than 100 lux and less than 2000 lux. This is my requirement of daylight. So how I can do it? I can do it by two methods. One is simulation method. In simulation, it will help you to identify how many hours of the area, how many hours the area is complying with the lux level in between 100 lux and 2000 lux. There is one prescriptive method as well, because nowadays, I mean, people are not aware about the software, so you can do the manual calculation as well. So how manual calculation will come? You have to check first the projection factor. What projection factor is? Your depth of overhang divided by your height of the window. Once your projection factor is less than 0.4, then you have to select this row. In the case your projection factor is more than 0.4, then you have to select this rows. I will show you how projection factor will be calculated. Now your location will define your latitude of your location. Either it could be more than 15 degree north, it could be less than degree north. Once you are, let's say if you are decided and you're coming to greater than 15 degree north, then you have to find whether your glass is having more than 30% VLT or less than 30% VLT. If your glass is having less than 30% VLT, you can pick one of the value. In the case if the window is on north side, you pick 2.5. In the case if your window is facing south side, pick 2.0. In the case if your window is facing east side, 0.7. So let me show you the calculation. So I'm going to show you this is my room. How the daylight area can be calculated manually. So this is my room and this is my window. First of all, I have to check the projection factor. Projection factor equal to overhang depth divided by window height. This is my first thing to identify what my projection factor is. Once my projection factor is defined, I will check DEF from the book. Let's say my window is having projection factor of less than 0.4 and my location is in Jaipur, let's say 15 degree north, and it is north facing 2.5. So my DEF will be 0.25 or 2.5. So how I will use this 2.5? So A is equal to DEF multiplied by window head height. This is my first formula. So, and second part, my B part would be DEF. We have taken 2.3 from that book, and coming to B, formula B is equal to W plus 1 plus 1. Now try to understand this thing. This is my window and width is window's width. This is my W, width of the window. And along with this, I have to take 1 meter on this side and 1 meter on this side. So this is my 1 plus 1. So I have selected my boundary of area. Right. So this is my boundary of the area. In the case your room is so small so that is 1 meter is you are not able to take this 1 meter, then it should be 0.7, 0.5, whatever distance you have, take that distance. In the case there are multiple windows, 2 windows, then you have to take half of the distance between one window and second window. Now you have defined this horizontal plane, but you haven't decided vertical area. So this A is equal to DEF into window height. So whatever the value will be, it will show you, it will give you boundary here. So now this is your daylight area. Sorry. So this is your daylight area. So this is how you can calculate the daylight area through DEF calculation. I hope this will be clear. So this is how you can also go with the simulation softwares, and that will be much helpful in the case you are very well about software. The requirement of software are mentioned in ECBC book, that which softwares are we can say verified by BEE, because BEE only accepts few of the softwares which we can go ahead with. On the last page of book, we can refer that. So this area will be total area. We can say total area will be daylight area is equal to A into B. So this is my daylight area. This is your calculation. Coming to the next slide. Yes. This 4.2.4 is all about building envelope ceiling. You have to ensure that all building envelope ceiling is there in the building. These are examples. Moving ahead, you can see now prescriptive requirements. So these are not mandatory requirements, but for the compliance of ECBC, you have to either go with prescriptive method, either these values, or energy simulation method. In the case, if I'm going through this prescriptive method and not the energy simulation part, then I will see that roof U value is overall heat gain coefficient, overall heat transfer coefficient. So this overall heat transfer coefficient is for all buildings except school and hospitality. For composite climate, hot and dry climate, warm and humid, temperate, cold. In India, there are 5 types of climate zones. In this climate zone, these are divided into 5 parts, and you can select accordingly. Let's say I'm taking Jaipur. Jaipur comes under composite climate zone, and 0.33 is my maximum threshold. I have to construct and design a building which will have a U value of less than 0.33. In the case that is my office. How I can reduce down? By using the insulation, by using more aerated part, because the air is also insulation. So that will help us in reduce down the overall heat transfer coefficient of any surface. Here ECBC plus is also there, but we are not focusing on this thing because this is advanced level energy efficiency. So we are not focusing on that. We are only focusing on ECBC values, not ECBC plus, neither super ECBC. Similarly, for opaque wall, you can see the values are mentioned. Let's say my business area is there and that is less than 10,000 square meter. I have to comply with the maximum U value of 0.63. If you are selecting your buildings in different climate zone, you have to select accordingly. Coming to vertical fenestration part, your minimum VLT is 0.27. Below 0.27, you cannot take any of the glass. So make sure your VLT is more than 0.27. That means 27%. In the case lots of DGU glasses are there and you are taking the VLT of less than 27%, that will not meet the prescriptive requirement. If your glass is less than 27% VLT, you have to switch over to the simulation method. Similarly, glass has 2 properties, not only U factor, but also the solar heat gain coefficient. This I am selecting here. So you can select it. Maximum U value is 3 and 0.27. So we have limited time, but I'm just going through just overall, just basic things. So it will be helpful for you to go through in detail and understand ECBC. Otherwise, ECBC is quite intensive, needs quite intensive training, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and we have limited time, so I'm going through quickly. Similarly, in the case if you have overhangs, note it down here. Let's say my glass is having a 0.3 SHGC. Can I comply with the prescriptive requirement? As from this table, you cannot comply. But in the case if you are providing overhangs, then it could be possible that 0.27 limitation, which is written in the ECBC, that can increase a bit. How much it will increase? That you have to do calculation of SEF. This is again a bit detailed calculation, but due to the time constraint, we will be taking it in next session whenever it will be conducted. The things which are more important for your examination, GEM-CP, that I'm going through, you as of now, this is a quite detailed book, but basic things you can read and apply for the GEM examination. Coming to comfort system, the mandatory requirements are, one is ventilation. Now ventilation could be either natural ventilation, it could be mechanical ventilation as well. Mechanical ventilation requires a machine that will throw the air from building outside to the building. So that is basically mechanical ventilation, or we can say the fresh air being injected in the building. That's again a mechanical ventilation. But in the case if there is no machines, if no fans are used, it will be natural ventilation. So ventilation you have to comply with. Next is energy efficiency of the chillers, that you have to comply. So these are the COPs mentioned over there. You have to comply with these COPs. Coming to next, control system, how the control system will work. These are there. Additional controls are there which are mentioned over here. This 5.2.4, 5.2.4.3, you can refer these, right? So these all things you can refer from book. Now we have a limited of time limitation. The service hot water system is also there. You can comply with this requirement. Similarly, coming to next section, that is for lighting part. This lighting control also you can see from here. I'm not going into detail. We have time limitation. Space control you can check. Daylight area controls you can check. And lighting power densities, that is in prescriptive method. So lighting power densities comes under prescriptive method. So these things you can go up. Now coming back to again GEM rating. This is all about natural light. So I explained you how the manual calculation can be done, and in the case your 40% of area is complying with the 90% or more hours with in between lux of 100 and 2000, this is a mandatory requirement. In the case of 60% is meeting, then 2 points. In the case of 80% is meeting, then you will get 4 points.
अभी तो नहीं आया सर, आप उसको ऐसे ही कर दो.
I would like Neeraj sir, could you please mute your mic? Yes, okay, thanks. Now the last section is air quality. So fresh air requires a compliance of 62.1 2010. So that is basically on if your area is defined, your population is defined, you can, and your system is also defined, how the system will be working, pressure system will be working. You can define how much air is required in particular zone and accordingly in all building. So you can define what the pressure is required. So there is 62.1 2010. The table 6 is there. In table 6 you can find the requirement of fresh air according to area and according to persons. Second point is outside fresh air, the requirement. Please note this, these questions may come anytime. In the case you are applying for GEM exam, this question may come, that what is the minimum requirement of filters. So MERV 8 is the minimum requirement of filters. So this is again a type of filter rating: MERV 8, MERV 9, MERV 10, MERV 11, 12, 13, different type of. The more the rating will be, the gap between the filters will be very less. So minimum 8 or more is required for the fresh air. In the case you are providing more than 20% of fresh air, you will get additional points. And in the case if you are incorporating the CO2 monitoring sensors, again you will get, in the return path of duct, you will again get 3 points.
It's 1 o'clock.
So this was all about the mechanical ventilation. For natural ventilation, it depends on the area, how much area, openable area you are providing. So 8% of net occupiable area. Let's say my room is 100 square feet of in area. I have to provide 100 square meter is my room area. Then 8 square meter I have to provide the openable area in the room. So that will comply my natural ventilation. So this was the basic requirement of fresh air as well. I think now I'm done with the basic understanding of ECBC energy requirement, daylight, and fresh air. So over to Mr. Neeraj Arora. I hope, sir, this will be sufficient for energy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kishan. Your presentation was really wonderful. I think we should allow you one day to, to explain the things you are explaining so nicely.
Thank you, sir.
Because these 3 criteria, energy, daylight, and fresh air, these are complicated criteria. And
Yes, sir.
friends, actually, meanwhile, when Kishan was explaining his part, I was looking at your questions. So, I mean, the questions which I received from most of the attendees is that, I mean, are we allowing them the discount? Are we extending the date of the discount for the JAM certified online exam? Actually, friends, this discount was open from 21st April to 29th April till 12 in the night. But now, as I can see, there are around 70 to 80 questions requesting for the, extending the date of the discount. So I've spoken to my chief financial officer and my council chairman, and they have told me to allow, the candidates, those who are attending the webinar, I can open the window with the discount rate for the examination fee till 5 o'clock in the evening today. But after 5 o'clock, this window will be closed. So I would request those who all are interested in applying for JAM certified online exam with the discounted fee, they can apply and they can pay for the fee till 5 o'clock in the evening today. And today, after 5 o'clock, this discounted fee will be closed. So those who are interested in appearing for the examination and appearing for the, the JAM online examination, they can apply and they can pay the fee, rupees 3,000 plus GST for now, and they can appear for the examination anytime in future. So this is because this is an online exam. You can utilize the best time of this lockdown, because in the lockdown you all are free, we all are free, and we have time to read, we have time to upgrade our resume. So I think we should best utilize our time. We should apply for the online examination. We should pay the fee, discounted fee, and you can pay the fee right now and you can appear for the examination anytime. So you can now, as we have shared the reference guide with you, we will share the soft copy of the ECBC 2017 also with you. And with this reference guide and ECBC 2017, if you go through these books, you can easily appear for the examination. Anyways, this is an open book examination, so books are available to you. The only thing is that you just go through the book, you just read the books, and you schedule your test. Once you pay the fee, we will send you the link from where you can schedule the test. So I repeat, our discounted fee is available till 5 o'clock in the evening today. You can pay the fee. Now the fee section has been upgraded. Now the fee section has been changed. So I would request all of you to go there and deposit the fee to take the benefit of this 40% discount. And once you are done, you will receive an email of confirmation from where you can schedule a test as per your choice. You can give the test anytime in May, June, July, August, anytime. But just take best benefit of this discount and deposit your fee. Our fee section has been upgraded. You can go there and you can deposit the fee. The same link will work. Now, if you allow me, I can take 8 to 10 questions which audience has asked, and I really like the questions. I really appreciate the quality of question which audience has asked. I would like to take first question from Mr. Amit Kakkad. So, I mean, his question is regarding the building construction materials. So he is saying that how can they check the percentage of the material? I mean, if the BOQ, I mean, if the calculations are not allowed. So see, sir, say I am saying that you will get 1 point if the glass you are using has 15% recycled content. I repeat, you will get 1 point if the glass you are using has 15% recycled content. It means, I mean, otherwise, what has happened is we take the entire BOQ, the entire quantities, entire cost, and we do all the calculation on the entire BOQ. And I must tell you, and you will also endorse me, you will also support me, and the green building consultants listening to this webinar will definitely endorse me, support me, that 99.99% of the time the BOQ you receive is not correct, because the BOQ was made at the time of starting of the project, and by the time you are joined and you are doing the green building certification, entire things have been changed. I have done more than 250 green building certification projects for IGBC, Lead, Grey and others, and I can tell you that the DBRs I have received, the BOQs I have received were not correct, and we had to do many manipulations in that calculation. So Amitji, I would say that in our case, the requirement is that if you are using glass, recycled glass, you will have to check the quantity of recycled glass only. You will not have to do the calculation over entire BOQ. You will just have to check the quantity of glass, and out of that glass, if your glass has 15% recycled content, it will award you some point. Similarly, for plaster work, if your entire plaster work you are using PPC plaster, PPC cement for this much of plaster percentage, you will get the point. I think I am clear. So this calculation is based upon material to material, not on the overall BOQ, which makes your life easier. The next question I would like to take, that whether this validity of this GEM certified rating and GEM certified professional certificate, what is the validity of this? So I would like to share with you that this GEM certified professional test, this GEM certified professional certificate, as well as the GEM certified rating is valid for lifelong. Till now, the criteria is this only. The GEM certified professional examination is lifelong. You will not have to pay any renewal fee. Similarly, the GEM certified rating is also for the lifetime. You will not have to pay any renewal fee, or you will not have to do any kind of renewal for now. My second question, I mean, the third question which I am taking is, I mean, most of the people were asking for the discount. I am clear that discount is available till 5 o'clock in the evening, till 5 p.m. today. You can apply with 3000 plus GST for the exam registration, and you can take the examination anytime. Then somebody has asked that whether NBC or ECBC are mandatory. If these are mandatory, what is the use of GEM rating? So I must say that GEM rating or any green building certification rating talk about the holistic approach, talk about everything of the building. It includes water, energy, rainwater harvesting, STP, or human comfort, safety, and all the parameters. As far as NBC and ECBC, so I must say that NBC and ECBC are never mandatory. These are guidelines. These are recommendations. Till now, NBC is not mandatory. NBC, you are supposed to follow the NBC, but if you are not following NBC, there is no punishment in that. You will have to follow your local building bylaws. So NBC and ECBC are not mandatory. These are recommended. These are recommended in the bylaws. These are recommended anyways, but these are not mandatory. And the green building certification program like GEM, these are talking about the holistic design of the building, not about, say, like ECBC talk about only the energy, daylight and fresh air. GEM talk about everything: your parking, your occupancy, your daylight, your fresh air, your energy, your material, your other design parameters, your waste, STP, rainwater harvesting, plumbing, well plumbing, and everything. So this is the difference between NBC, ECBC, and green building certification programs like GEM. Now the next question is, so one question is that if this question is about the water fixtures. So somebody has asked if any project is not installing that particular water fixture, then what next? So I would like to say that if any product is not applicable to your project, you can just mention that the product is not applicable to your project, and we will award you the point. You will award you the bonus point because that product is not applicable to your project. And anyways, it is good that you are not using that product. The next question is that how to prove that urea formaldehyde is, the products are urea formaldehyde free. So for any such criteria or any such requirements, anyways, you will have to take this certificate from the manufacturers. So if you want to use the board which is urea formaldehyde free, you will have to take this certificate from the manufacturer. The manufacturer will tell you that their products are urea formaldehyde free. This is similar like you get the certificates or the the letters from the manufacturers regarding the recycled and regional content. I think Kishan, do you want to take some questions on energy, daylight and fresh air? Have you seen? Kishan, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. I would responding to the questions of the people. I need to identify the questions for the energy. I'm not pretty sure whether the questions are asked on this.
Actually, one question which I can see is that one gentleman is asking the difference between natural ventilation and the other ventilation. So I think you can explain that, and
yes,
I think he is asking about EPI also. I think you have explained EPI, but
okay.
I would request if you can again explain about EPI.
Yes. So for the EPI, Energy Performance Index, is basically your total energy consumption divided by your area. This is basically Energy Performance Index. And coming to the EPI ratio, that is basically confusing term for some people. EPI ratio is once you get the EPI, so the proposed case EPI divided by baseline case EPI. So this is EPI ratio. And coming to next question, that is about the ventilation. There are two type of ventilation, and we can say three type of ventilation. One is natural ventilation, second is mechanical ventilation, and third is hybrid. We can say both of the systems are there. Natural is also there, and mechanical is also there if you refer to the ECBC. So wherever the fans are required to provide the fresh air or exhaust the fresh air, the systems, where systems are working to for the ventilation, that is called a mechanical ventilation, and wherever the openings are provided, that is a natural ventilation.
Wonderful, Kishan. So do you want to take one or two more questions? Because
sure.
I think I am really really excited to see the quality of questions we have received from the audience.
Yes, sir. Please, sir. Next question, I can. Yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you search for the questions. I would like to announce. Okay, please, Kishan, go ahead.
So here it is mentioned ECBC 2017 is not applicable for residential sector. So which ECBC we need to follow? So first thing that if you are going for GEM certification and your building is residential building, then for residential, the parameters for wall, roof, glass, systems, everything is mentioned over there. So for residential building, your reference book will be GEM book. So I hope you will be this answer will be this answer will help. Okay, next question. Any other question on energy, sir? How do you control?
I think Kishan, you look for the question. Meanwhile, I would like to announce that we have received very wonderful response from the audience, and we have got 32 more registrations, more payments for the GEM online examination. This is amazing.
Great.
That the audience is showing interest in GEM certified professional examination. So I would again request that, because this is lockdown period and we all are locked in our homes, so this is the wonderful time to improve our resume, our curriculum, our CV. I mean, this is good that we can appear for the examination, and once you are done with the certified professional examination, you will get the GEM certified professional certificate from the body like ASSOCHAM, which is the oldest industrial body in India. ASSOCHAM, as I told you, ASSOCHAM represents 4 lakh industry members across India, and the certificate which you receive after clearing the examination will definitely help you in improving your resume. The people, those who are in the final year of their studies, and those who are recently cleared their examination, their graduation, for them this certificate will definitely be very much helpful, because sustainability is going to be, wonderful thing after once the lockdown will open, because now people have realized that how much of sustainability is important for for a daily life also, because now sustainability is not the criteria, not the requirement, it is, it is the mandatory requirement, I must say. So take best benefit out of this, and register more for the GEM certification examination. This window is open till 5 o'clock in the evening. Thank you so much. Kishan, any question?
Yes, sir. So one question is, kindly explain MERV topic again. Yes, sir. Please.
We just have 10 minutes more. So if anybody want to ask the questions, they can ask, and I'm happy to share with you that still 400 plus professionals are attending this webinar. I am excited to see the response which we have received. So ask as many questions as you ask. I told you that this GEM reference guide is available free of cost on green-assocham.com website. You please visit the website, register for the online examination. The fee is still 3,000 plus tax, and the book is 100% free of cost available to you. You can ask as many questions, and you can appear for the examination anytime as per your convenience on any working day. Kishan, please, you can take two or three more questions.
Yes. So question is, if overhang is at 60-degree angle, then what will be the formula to calculate projection factor? I will explain you this thing, that you can break it in, let's say 60 degrees angle. You take two components. Overhang length is L, the L cos theta and L sin theta. So these two components will be helpful for you to calculate for the projection factors. Next question I will come is MERV topic. So MERV is basically the rating is provided for the air filters. That minimum energy rated value is the term which is called as a MERV. So this is given to the filters. So less the value is, the less the efficient is. More the value is, more the efficient it is. Okay, I'm going through the questions. There are lots of questions. I'm finding whether any energy point is there. Okay, so I think that's kindly explain ECB sections which are covered. Okay, kindly explain ECB sections which are covered. So all the sections are mandatory, and I mean mandatory section of all the sections of ECBC are covered in the GEM. So 4.2, 5.2, 6.2, 7.2. These are the mandatory requirements which are covered as the mandatory provisions. And for the ECBC compliance, you also have to fulfill 4.3, 5.3, 6.3, 7.3 or energy simulation method.
Good. Are you looking at more questions, Kishan?
Just give me 1 minute. I'm just going through whether is any energy related question is there or not. So EPA is only for condition building. Then what about naturally ventilated building? EPA is for whole building, whether it is condition, whether it is non-condition building. The EPA is calculated according. There could be fan consumption would also be there. There would be lighting consumption would also be there. So all consumption would be there. So accordingly, we have to calculate the EPI. So for natural ventilated building also, the EPI can be calculated. It is not particularly for the condition building only. Partial condition building also will have EPI, and natural ventilated building will also have EPI. Are calculation also part of the exam? What is the duration of exam? I think, sir, can you please clear about this?
Sorry?
Duration of exam, and are calculation also part of the exam? What is the duration of exam?
No, yeah. So let me explain you. There is no calculation in the examination. There will be 100 questions. There will be 100 questions in the examination. You will be allowed. You will be given 90 minutes to attempt the examination. 90 minutes, 100 questions. There is no negative marking in the questions. And you can skip the questions. You can come back to the questions as you normally do in the online examination. There is no negative marking. 100 questions, 90 minutes, which is good enough. These are objective type questions. No calculations required. And that's it. There are multiple choice question. Only single answer is there. There is no 2 or 3 answers like that. So I think I am clear.
Yes.
So Kishan, do you want to add something, or should we call it a day?
Yes, sir, we can call it a day.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kishan. So
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, professionals, architects, engineers, designers, consultants. Thank you so much for giving this wonderful response. This is amazing. That I was not expecting that wonderful response from the gathering. Wonderful registrations for the online examinations also. I would like to say again that this discount fee is available till 5 o'clock in the evening. You can register more and more, and you can apply for the examination later. I would like to thank you, Kishan Khatri, who is president of ISRE Jaipur chapter. I would like to thank you, the India president, Mr. Rishi Mittal, ISRE, who has supported us. ISRE, who has supported us very well in executing this program. I must say that without ISRE, the success of this program was never possible. Thank you so much, Kishan Khatri and team ISRE. Thank you so much, ASSOCHAM. Thank you so much, Amit. And that's it. Kishan, would you like to say something at the end?
That's it, sir. This was really a wonderful session, and I'm overwhelmed after seeing this. People's feedback and response. Lots of questions. I'm eager to answer all the questions, but due to time limitation also. We are definitely next session we'll be conducting, and again we will be responding to each and every questions to people. And
definitely their response has encouraged us that we can have a more lengthy session. Thank you, Mr. Harinder Saini and Mr. Rohit Bhatia, who is handling our IT things. So for the successful conductions of this webinar. Thank you, Harinder ji. Thank you, Rohit Bhatia ji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kishan.
Thank you.
We should close now. Great.
Yes.